Hi, how's everybody doing tonight? Good. You guys have a lot of energy for 7:30 on a weekday. Thank you. So welcome. We are super excited to be sponsoring the Neighborhood Watch and helping you guys put it together. My name is Shalhout. This is my business partner, William Tovar. You guys met my wife and other business partner, Alex, on the way in, and this is our office manager, Kirsten. We are actually sponsoring this for you guys tonight in conjunction with our lender, Diana Gomez, so I have to mention her name because she gave us money. But other than that, we're excited to be here. We're excited to be working with you guys. Oceanside Police Department is here. They are actually going to come up when I'm done talking to you guys and give a short presentation. So if you guys have any questions or if there was anything you wanted to talk to us about at the end, please feel free to come up and talk to us at the end of the meeting. We're here. We want to be advocates and resources for you guys. We want to make sure that the Neighborhood Watch can be sustainable. So we're happy to do some of the organizational work for you guys. We're going to go to the monthly block captain meeting and bring back that information for you so you don't have to try to balance that into your busy schedule and your regular lives. I know this is a thing a lot of you have mentioned when we've come around and talked to you door to door as a problem with maintaining Neighborhood Watch. I want a Neighborhood Watch, but I don't know what the level of commitment is. So we want to try to take as much of that off of your shoulders as we can. So one last thing before I turn you guys over to the police officers for Neighborhood Watch. Two last things, actually. I want to say hi and thank you to Colleen, who actually has a Neighborhood Watch going over on Johnson, Burney, and Carr. Did I miss any streets? And Brown. So we are actually going to just coordinate with them and try to expand out into the rest of the area. So we're going to be working together with Colleen. Thank you so much for your help and your advice in organizing our own meeting. And other than that, we do have the Mira Costa Estates page that we would invite you guys to join. We're going to be posting updates and stuff like that too. But there's also a separate Mira Costa Estates private group on Facebook that we are just opening up to people who live in the area. So if you're a member of the page, we've sent you an invitation already. If not and you want to join, please talk to us after the meeting, and we'll be happy to get your email address and Facebook and send you out an invitation. And other than that, if people don't have any questions for me, I would like to turn it over to Oceanside PD. If you guys could please just keep your phones on silent or off. They're going to give us a little presentation, and then we will start our Neighborhood Watch. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Just kidding. All right. My name is Dulcie. I work for the police department. I actually have coordinated the Neighborhood Watch program for the past 9+ years for the department. I know, Colleen, we worked to coordinate yours. I was not there at that meeting, however. I apologize for that. I'm pretty sure it was a night that I had something else going on, but I know the officers came out and were there as well. So I appreciate your efforts to help with this. So for the department, Neighborhood Watch is, it's a great program because we really need the help from the community to prevent crime. A big part of preventing crime is getting the community involvement and then also removing that opportunity for crime, okay? So without you all and the community's help, our crime rates go up. So it's really great to see you all here. I like to see this kind of turnout. That's awesome. When I go to Neighborhood Watch meetings and try to coordinate a new startup group, I like to see about 10%. This is a good turnout. Sometimes I go and 2 people show up and it's like, okay, you guys are going to watch each other's houses and that's about it. Where are we going to go from there, right? It's not that productive. So thank you all for coming out. That's a great start. And then from here, hopefully getting the word out to your neighbors as well will help improve the program. Anybody have any experience with Neighborhood Watch here to begin with? I know you do. You do? Okay, so a few. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right, so that's a good start. I'll introduce my 2 partners here. I don't want to leave them out. They're happy to have me do all the talking, but I'll introduce them as well. This is Officer Stingley, and he is the neighborhood officer for this area, so that's somebody you will want to know. I did bring printouts with our contact information, so make sure you take some of the printouts with you before you go, because you'll need that as you move forward, and you'll have our contact information if you need to get in touch with us. Also, Officer Torres, she's part of... Yeah, she's our moral support. So the neighborhood policing team for the department, is anybody familiar with the neighborhood policing team?
Mhm.
You are, I know you are. You don't count. No, he's a volunteer for our department. So.
Did Jose Munoz move on or?
Yes, so Officer Jose Munoz was the neighborhood officer for this area. This area is called Sector 3. The city is broken down into 4 sectors. And there is a map on our police website, so if you're curious about, those breakdowns and where the neighborhood falls, but this area, everybody here should be from Sector 3, unless you're from a completely another part of the city. So that is going to be your officer. Officer Stingley replaced Officer Jose Munoz. So every year, pretty much, we undergo some changes within the unit. So our officers don't go to a unit and stay there for the rest of their career like some of the agencies. We have a lot of turnover in our unit. So for the neighborhood team, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be 4 years, but it really depends on the officer and the needs of the unit. So that's why Officer Stingley and Officer Torres, they're new to the unit, and that's why I will predominantly be doing the speaking tonight. So they're kind of observing, but they're available. Of course, they have experience as being police officers, which is very vital to the program as well. So yes, this is going to be Officer Stingley, and I have a number list, so you'll have his information to get in touch with him in the future going forward.
My contact information, if you call my number, it goes to my voicemail. I'm always available, and if you have a problem, it ranges from anything virtually. If I can help with it, I'm going to help with it. So if you call me, I'll call you back as soon as I get back into the office. Most of the time, same day. Pretty quick about responses. So this program, this Neighborhood Watch program, being more focused on community involvement and communicating with each other. So if you do have a problem, hopefully the communication within the neighborhood eliminates problems of someone suspiciously walking down the street and it being your neighbor's brother that you've never seen before, things like that. You can talk to the neighbor about that. But if it turns into something that you need to contact police for, but it's not something you want to call the police for and have a response, call me, and I'm more than happy to respond to that.
So that's typically, the neighborhood policing team is typically going to handle ongoing issues in the neighborhood. Okay, so like if you have a neighbor that's constantly, playing loud music at night and it's been going on for 6 months and you call police out and it's just not something that's stopping over time, it's an ongoing issue, it's affecting your quality of life, that's when you're going to want to contact your neighborhood officer. Understand the patrol officers, when they come out to a call, they're going to do as much as they can at that time to handle the situation and resolve it, hopefully then, but they also need to get on to the next call and other emergencies and stuff like that. So sometimes they don't have the ability and the resources and the time at that moment to resolve that issue. So that's where the neighborhood team comes in, and they will get involved and hopefully put some long-term solutions to that problem in place that will help resolve it over time. So that's the difference. The neighborhood officers aren't answering the radio calls and aren't having to go to all the calls that are happening. They have that extra time to help and resolve the issue. Okay? So that's the difference with the patrol and our neighborhood team. All right? So as far as Neighborhood Watch, a big component of the program is being able to communicate with each other, like Officer Stanley said. And oftentimes the biggest hurdle to that is having a means of communicating. I'm really glad to see that there's already a process in place for obtaining information and having you all communicate with each other, because that's often the biggest hurdle of the program. So that's great. There are so many means of communicating with each other today. Social media. When I started in this position 9 years ago, we did a phone tree.
I was gonna say, let's take it old school and do a phone
Right?
tree.
I do have some neighborhoods that still do the phone tree, so I'm not going to knock it. But it can be time consuming and cumbersome. If you can imagine picking up your phone and calling 10, 12 of your neighbors and telling them, suspicious person just walked in the neighborhood and I called the police and this is what they look like. And that takes a lot of time, right? So nowadays it's really nice with social media. You can go on and you can put it out on your form, however you're going to do it. If you're going to do the Facebook page like you mentioned, if you're going to do an email blast, or however you're going to do it, it's a lot easier to just go on and type something up and send it out to hundreds of people potentially at once. That's awesome. So I'm really glad you're doing that. That is a big part of helping to resolve a lot of the neighborhood issues and communicating with each other. A big part of crime is people oftentimes aren't aware that it's going on, right? And you might be somebody that wants to help fight crime in the neighborhood, but if you don't know about it, how are you going to do anything different? whether it be, you have homes being broken into. Okay, so I'm gonna lock my home. I'm gonna watch out for anybody suspicious in the neighborhood. I'm going to not make it easy for somebody to get into my home, so you can put some extra locking mechanisms on the doors and windows, things like that. Not make it easy, but then you can also go through your house and see, okay, let's say somebody doesn't get in my house. Where am I vulnerable? What do I have that can be taken? And then try to do something to, make it a little harder for people to get stuff. So that's another part of it, is just being aware of what's going on so that you can react accordingly. I see a couple people, you have printouts, right? How many have these maps and handouts?
There's one being passed around.
Okay, you're getting passed around. Okay, so that's another great tool for Neighborhood Watch. It's okay, we'll talk about it. That site is called Crime Mapping. And I encourage you, if this is the first time you're seeing it, I encourage you to go home, check it out, plug in your address, and look at the map and see what's going on around you. It's another way to be informed about crime in the neighborhoods, and then also to see, where are these crimes happening. When I did this crime mapping and looked at the information for the area for the last 4 weeks, I looked at a half-mile radius, and I saw the majority that was on there were residential burglaries, which are home break-ins. Is that a concern to anybody here? Yeah, right? Right? You don't want your home broken into. I've had that happen to me, this is when I was in college. I was living down by the beach area, and somebody broke into my house while we were out of town. They ransacked everything. They took every appliance that we had. We actually had like landlines and phones and computers and TVs, and they took everything in my house. So it's very violating, and I don't want that to happen to anyone. That is definitely a concern, especially what if they come in your home, right? That's even more of a concern.
Was there any common denominator among all the break-ins?
The break-ins,
Was any common denominator, something common among all the break-ins?
not that I'm aware of, do you know?
With ours, you mean?
With the ones
Or
that
your
have been
friend?
reported?
With ours, they're usually at night, is when they happen. We do have groups of people who get together and they decide that they're going to go and do residential burglaries for a night, and there'll be 20 homes hit in one night. There's usually a similar, pardon me?
Not when you're home.
At night, and they're typically, and it's kind of rare that someone does it to someone when they're home.
Oh, okay.
There's information somehow that they're out of town, or signs or something going on, or it's a garage or something that's unrelated, or somebody who's not typically going to be there. And if there is, those are the calls that we get when someone calls and says, someone just tried to get in my house, they're now running down the street because they saw someone there. And they don't want anybody there. They don't want conflict when they're trying to commit a crime. And they want to get away and not be identified at the same time. So, but it does happen where we have these groups of guys get together and they go and commit crimes all together. For whatever reason, they get arrested within a couple of days. They get put in jail, problem solved for a while, they get released, they do the same thing again. So it's the common denominator is just criminals being criminals, really.
It does occur when people are home, though.
Oh, sure,
Break-ins?
sure, it is possible, yeah. People,
Break in when people are.
it does.
when
Those
people
are the
right.
phone calls that we get when it's an active, somebody's getting into the house, yeah. And when it's the next morning when we get the phone call and it's a report, it's because it happened before they were home, or was their garage where they weren't at, or some kind of property, their vehicle outside. Those are always the late calls.
I'm John Mayberry, and this is my wife Bessie. We live on Kelton, which is a street right up here. And we get to see the train go by because we see over the ledge. But a few weeks ago, the fire department came out, with some smoke in the area. And the two firemen both said that a lot of people live down there by the train tracks and in the reeds and so forth. And so you should be careful at night. And I wanted to know, is that factual? Are there people actually living down there?
Have you seen people down there?
I have, if I go running, I see them come out.
Then they're down there. So that's, yeah, there's a lot of valleys and areas within Oceanside that people, dwell in for periods of time. We have encampment details that go through them every single week, and it's illegal to camp in public in Oceanside. They get tickets, they get moved on, their camps get closed down, they move to another spot and do it again.
It's not a camping place.
It's not a camping place,
No, it's
but it supports a tent.
The
So,
encampments.
yes.
Yes.
It's an illegal encampment.
Is there any information on that available?
You mean where they're happening?
Well, has it been going on for a long time?
Forever.
Is it normal behavior?
Since caveman days.
I
No,
just
it
don't know
really-
anything about it. It just seems kind of strange.
Have any of you noticed that in this area or in this neighborhood?
I've never seen them come up in the neighborhood. I run a daycare on Kelton, 9 houses down, and I'm home all day long. I've
You don't see
never,
them in
ever seen a transient come out of there. My neighbors across the street let their kids go down in the canyon. They've actually seen the camps. They've never actually come in contact with anyone. They see the camps down there. I tell them, when you see them, steer clear, turn around, go the opposite direction. A lot of times they're not necessarily the most mentally stable. They're not going to necessarily hurt you, but just stay away from them if you see them.
Good advice.
And we've never actually seen them.
Yeah.
Very early in the morning, I've seen smoke, clearly campfires.
Well, my backyard is on College, and so we're the corner house right there. So they come up my hill and they walk all the way along near the fences, just going where they need to go, stopping in the middle of the hill to sleep, whatever. And I'll hear them out there at night and whatever. It's like, hey, stay away. My dog will, my dog gets all over it. And so, I don't know that I would necessarily call the police for that, but I let my neighborhood know, hey, there's people walking the fence line at night, so just block everything.
Yeah.
Right, being able to communicate.
Yeah, and awareness is important, that with there, and some of you, this might be the first time you're hearing that, because if you're not seeing it, or you're not aware of it, or it's not, behind your house, then you might not know that. So yeah, that's important, just some awareness and to know where they are and know that, they're there. Sometimes we will see, stuff get stolen from the neighborhood, and sometimes it can be attributed to, people, living in these areas, but it doesn't always mean that that is going to happen. So, but it is a good, just routine to try to deter any kind of theft happening. Because it could happen at any time when somebody's just driving through the neighborhood, somebody's visiting a neighbor, and they see, oh, well, that's a nice looking vehicle, let me go see what's in it, and try the door handle and see if there's anything valuable in there to take. So that can happen at any time, anywhere. So you should always have that mindset that, I want to do what I can to not allow any crime to happen. So that means, securing your vehicle, not leaving valuables in it in plain sight, securing your home, not making it easy for somebody to take something. Not so much in this area, but down towards the beach area, we have bicycles stolen a lot. So, if you have bicycles, be smart about it, lock them up, put them in the garage, put them somewhere that's out of sight, not just like playing in your front yard. Tell your kids to make sure that they're, securing the bicycles and putting them somewhere else. It's a little easier, to control and keep it in check.
And as you know, in my neighborhood, we haven't been getting a lot of complaints about, in fact, not one, of somebody breaking into the home, but tons and tons of cars.
Yeah, that's a big issue. That's
That little side street on Brazil, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And that's the next most popular item on
And then
our
they'll take them and they'll sell them. Look at your local Craigslist or offer up and find your stuff. Report it because it can lead to something else.
Yeah, so that's probably
That's great, that's great.
yeah, that's probably the number one crime that we have, probably in all of California. Property crimes like that, where
Out of
the,
garages and cars.
cars, something just maybe outside of your residence that's not secured. So keep that in mind. I drive my vehicle like I drove it off the lot. I don't leave valuables in plain sight in my vehicle. Even change. Somebody is desperate to break into your vehicle, they will take what they can get. So just keep in mind what's in your vehicle, what can be taken, and remove it. If you have to put something in your vehicle for whatever reason, put it in the trunk, put it somewhere that's not real visible. You'd be amazed at the kind of stuff that we see that gets stolen from vehicles, laptops, purses, wallets, all kinds of stuff.
I was gonna say, garage door openers as well. That would be something someone
Yeah.
would grab and come over, the next
Yeah.
week or a couple days later
sure.
and open your garage and have access to it.
For sure.
That would be
Yeah.
One thing I've heard a lot from several neighbors is that they've noticed that their car has been rifled through, but nothing seems to have been taken, so
Change
little
what I
things
see
that
a lot.
cassettes.
Yeah, the police officer told me one time, assume a crackhead is touching your door handles every single night.
Right.
deal with college, so they're gonna cut that off, they're gonna come down our neighborhood, they're gonna check it out, they're gonna scope stuff.
I do feel that based on what I'm hearing, that all of the door handles are being checked, because it's things being rifled through.
The other story we hear a lot is of like a single car driving through the neighborhood, stopping at corners, taking notes. Sometimes that's us guys, we work in the area. But we also heard that story a couple of times where it'll be like the same black car with the license plates.
Yep, that would be the
And if they stop in front of my house, I have no problem saying, hey, can I help you?
Yeah.
Like I've seen you come, like, now I see your face, just letting you know, I know you're here, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I do that where I
Usually it's like, oh, I was just picking up my kid or whatever.
Yeah. And if you're comfortable with that, I mean, of course, neighborhood watch is not about, like, you've seen where there's, like, vigilantes, like, running the neighborhood, patrol, and there's actually a movie about it, right? It's pretty funny. But, no, that's not what it's about. And you really have to do what you're comfortable with, and it's clear that you feel comfortable with, talking to somebody, and, can I help you find somebody?
That's exactly like.
And I do that where I live. I live in a community where I know my neighbors, and I know, who's coming and going from my stretch of homes. So if I see somebody that's hanging out that doesn't look like they've been there before, or they don't really look like they're up to any good, I'll say, can I help you find someone? Are you lost? Try to be friendly about it, but if they're there for some bad purpose or to commit some kind of crime, typically just having that awareness, if somebody saw me, I need to leave, okay? And then the next thing too is if you're alerting your neighbors, or you call the police, suspicious activity, there's a vehicle in the neighborhood that's just hanging out, or you see somebody wandering through the neighborhood, trying door handles on vehicles. I see your hand, I'll get to you in just a second, okay? Waiting patiently. You can call into the police department and report, suspicious activity and have an officer come out and check it out. And then that even sends a clearer message. Somebody did see me. They contact the police department. This is not an area that I should be in. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get caught. Criminals want to come in and get out, want to get in and out quickly. They want to not be seen. They want to not be noticed. So if you do, you see them, you make that clear, like visual contact, like I see you in the neighborhood. And then if you even say, can I help you with something? Are you lost? Are you looking for somebody? They then know for sure that you saw them, and maybe you can identify them if they, commit a crime. So, that will also send another clear message.
Does that mean we have a very loud alarm? It means people are breaking in.
An alarm from a car or a house?
A house or a car.
A house or a car? Sometimes it can mean that, right? If you hear an alarm sounding, like out in the street, do you look and see what it is? Do you pay attention?
No, I get one.
Get mine. That's good. That's good. Definitely that's a good point. If you hear an alarm, a house alarm or a car alarm, take a look and see what's going on. Unfortunately today we get kind of desensitized, especially to car alarms, and it's more of an annoyance than an actual alert. But where I live, I check. If I hear a car alarm going off, I check. I have a garage, which I park my car in. I encourage you to do that. Remove all that stuff in your garage. Get it out. Make room for your car. It's a good way to help protect your car. But I'll go look and see if I can identify where the vehicle is and if something's going on. Especially if it's a home alarm too. I'm going to look and see, maybe somebody needs help or somebody's breaking in and pay attention to that kind of stuff.
So a couple quick questions. I saw your little radius of, the crimes in the area in the last 4 weeks. Predominantly seem to be car break-ins, which I guess is apropos for everything.
Yeah.
I live over at Cameo, the last house before the condo projects. And I was aware that I'd go walking down there and I'd see glass in the middle of the street. So that whole street on Cameo from Rancho Del Oro to the end of the condo complexes is the extra parking for those places that apparently gets that. So question number one is, would it be, should I contact the, so there's 2 different complexes on either side of the street? Maybe if they had a visible camera set up and a big sign that says you're being filmed or something like that. I don't know if that's, you're talking about a public street on both cases. The other is, other than that, I'm not really aware of a lot of crime, so I didn't know if this meeting was being called in response to that we have a lot of crime in our neighborhood, or that it's just kind of a preventative, we greater awareness, so I'm just, I hate to be Pollyannish, I'm not aware of a lot of mine.
Since that was my hand not going
Good
out,
questions.
on that map, you'll see a little black circle in the middle of it. That's your neighborhood. There's no crime at all in that spot. So it's all around you guys, essentially
Okay.
where it's happening. But
So the shotguns are paying off, so you're saying?
you must be aware.
We have the signs, we already have the neighborhood watch signs from the previous, program that had existed. So I think that that's a great deterrent. And the things that we've been hearing that caused us to pull everybody together were definitely these little car break-ins, rifling through. We've heard of a couple of, home break-ins, but for the most part that was years ago and they're just telling us about it now. So it really is preventative action and just making sure, we don't have an HOA or anything that's, holding this area together. So to have some sort of neighborhood community where everybody's communicating and staying in touch just facilitates that, that open communication and making sure that we have the police officers involved in all of these little things that are happening so that they don't escalate into a larger issue.
Does signage actually help? Is it statistically that if you have a neighborhood watch signs up, you're more likely to deter crime? Is that kind of something that people know about, or I don't know?
The neighborhood watch signs do help, but it won't take anybody long to figure out if nobody's watching or calling, right? So, I've been doing this job for about 10 years, and I have people that will call me and they'll say, I just want to get a neighborhood watch sign. I don't want to do neighborhood watch. I'm going to put up a sign because it's a deterrent and it will work. You have the right to do that. I'm not the keeper of the signs. You have to go through me to get the signs. You don't have to go through the police department. You do it on your own. But I also know that people don't always read signs and people don't always pay attention to signs. And depending on where the signs are, they might not even see it, right? Coming into your neighborhood. So it's a good tool, it's a resource, but you can't just solely rely on that to protect your neighborhood. If criminals come in the neighborhood and they're able to come in and out and get away with stealing stuff for 6 months straight and nobody stops them and they don't ever see police cars coming through and none of the neighbors are looking out and trying to see what's going on, then they're going to keep coming. And they will see that, this is ample opportunity here, so nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to keep trying. So you also need that backup to, reporting stuff, calling it in, calling the police department, reporting crimes when they happen. Sometimes I go to meetings like this and I'll look at the crime stats and I'll say, you don't have a lot going on here. You've had about 4 crimes that have been reported, and people will say, I had my car broken into, I had my house broken into, and we realize there's actually a lot more crime going on, but it's not being reported. So that's another part of what we want to convey is it's really important that you do report crimes as they're occurring, because if you don't report them, we don't know about them, and nothing's going to change on our end as far as how we respond, because we're not aware of it.
Yes, I just walked in. And we had.
Are you breaking into my house?
It's not the shotgun, remember, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut it. Yeah, a few other things. No, we did have some property crime a few months ago, back when there was a rash of people going around stealing succulents. We have a succulent garden in front, so we were hit. We had security cameras and were able to catch them in the act. Great, thank you. But the other thing, I didn't know that if this was the forum for this, but being on Cameo, and it's a pass-through street, I walk every morning. And one of the things that I get most concerned about is the speed of the traffic and the disregard for the stop signs. Are we able to come to you and ask for enhanced enforcement on this street? Because literally, like last week, I was walking west. I had just passed the last stop sign. It was right about by your house. And I hear this car come flying by. I turned around and looked. It was a white Mercedes, probably doing 50. He was 2 houses from the stop sign. There were 4 cars that were already at the stop sign. He had to have passed them at full speed without stopping to get to 50, 60 miles an hour where I saw him.
Is this Cameo in Columbia by any chance? Is this that intersection?
Yeah, this is Columbia. Yeah, the Columbia one is ridiculous.
Don't you drive a vehicle somewhere?
I wasn't even
And when I walk by, I routinely see people literally go through that stop sign without even touching the brakes. I've seen them go through a 35-foot, and I can do it every single morning, every single week.
It's common on your street there. You have really wide streets, you have really long roadways
and
before
it goes
stop
down
signs.
to the narrow
But it's something we can refer to traffic and they can do an extra detail there.
Yeah, it really is, because we still have enough kids that live on that street that it's a real concern. We've had probably 3 accidents within like 2 or 3 driveways of our house. We're right across the street that I witnessed one time where a kid passed a guy on the right as he was turning into his driveway and plowed into him. So, yeah, that's the one that I think is the biggest concern for me, because that's a day-to-day occurrence, and somebody is gonna get hurt.
And your traffic guys, and you're there with the SUVs a lot, but it's almost like you need a video camera to catch up, because those people just roll through those stop
Yeah,
signs.
it happens everywhere all day long, you know,
Oh,
you can't be everywhere at one time. There's complaints all throughout the city of people speeding and running stop signs, so we go to each one and spend time at each
And
one.
then that's one of the biggest complaints about our neighborhood is car, because they bypass college when there's traffic, or the teenagers getting their butts to college, you know, to the college. They just call, but they said that they have to go, basically to nail them at all, they would have to clock them at, was it 20 miles over the speed limit to be considered endangerment or reckless driving, otherwise they wouldn't even bother.
Well, not that I'm not a fan of speed bumps, but based on what you're talking about, so what precipitates a community saying, you know, we want speed bumps because this is an ongoing occurrence? What would?
There's a process for that, that's initiated through the streets department within the city. There's a lot of information on that on the city website. If somebody wants to take the initiative to start that up, it's a process.
Restart it up.
We've restarted up again before.
And that's what we're here
Yeah.
for. We're happy to facilitate some of that administration.
How long ago was that?
Wouldn't that go through your councilman?
Yeah, it would eventually go through city council, yeah. So
Yeah, the last guy that, from the city got, in trouble for embezzling funds, so it kind of cooled after that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Maybe I should just do it alone.
It's a process, they'll do speed surveys, and they'll pull the stats, and they'll put the
Did all that.
trailer out there, and do all that.
They did,
Yeah.
you guys just did that for us in the car.
I thought so, yeah.
They got dropped.
Yeah, and then from there, it's a process that has to go through, to get that approval. You've seen traffic calming measures in the city, right? Anybody been down and saw it? You've been down, you know,
They're trying to have a trailer.
yeah, so there, it does happen, but, you know, the city is gonna have to justify, because you'd be amazed at the cost of some of that stuff. I was amazed when I heard the cost of just like speed bumps, I was like, what? Come on. But it is costly, and so then they have to support that effort, you know, to say it's needed. So it's gonna be statistics, they're gonna look at those speed surveys, they're gonna see, you know, how many crashes are we having, are there fatalities, how many tickets are being issued. You know, they look at the amount of vehicles that are coming through the neighborhood and the speeds that they're going, and, you know, it goes from there. But it's not something that the police department decides on. It is something that goes through that process, and like you said, it goes through city council, and all that has to be approved, and money has to be allocated to do that. So it's a process.
I actually did, I live off Swampy, and our cross street is Dartmouth, and I actually did put a request in to have this paycheck through there, because I don't even think that so Dartmouth is a really steep hill coming down. I don't even think there's a yield sign there, there's no stop sign there, and I've got 3 kids, so that's really kind of a big concern for us. But I did put in a request, and I thought this was actually really confusing, because you had to go in with the password, and then when they put the strips down, they put it on Colgate, but going uphill, not on Dartmouth going downhill, so I think they got some sway results. But also to comment on, what street was it that you live on? They also, not just don't stop, but they go around to the other side and try to pass.
Because the street's so wide, they try to pass even though it's one lane.
On the right and the left. It's amazing. You're driving along and somebody flies by you and you're going, where did you come from?
But I just thought, and so when they did do the strip, and the results said that they were not enough to put in any kind of traffic. So, but I would think even just a yield sign, just because I leave in the morning and they don't even live with the street. And I've heard of other kids getting hit by bicycles, and I've heard on bicycles getting hit by cars.
Did you let them know that
I tried to do it again.
was more appropriate to
I tried to do it again, but it was just so confusing, and it was such, it had taken me to a different site, and then it said that this wasn't the right site so I don't know if it was an error on my part, but.
There is, I have a number list, like I said, I'll give you, it has our contact information, but on there is also the streets department. So you can always follow up with them and talk to somebody and get those questions answered and get some more
I was just acknowledging.
So I just heard about that recently, not from any of my neighbors, but something I saw online. When that a woman was walking on Bernard, by lot 1A. Anyway, and she had fallen, and somebody got her into their car, and she was able to forcefully like punch him a couple times.
I think she met him online, they met in the parking lot, and he ended up forcing her to get in front of that.
That was at San Marcos.
Oh, was that a?
That was the
I read the bulletin.
Because there was like two in 1 week. One was in San Marcos, one was here. One was in
Yeah, so she had fallen, was in the parking lot, was helped by somebody, and was assisted, was taken into a car where there was an assault that tried to happen, and she was able to get away.
Right.
And what I had read, what was posted up at the college, indicated that it was, I think it was a white male, and I know it was a white Volkswagen, or something like that. So it sounded similar, because I heard that it was like a day or two after that, that they were able to shoot it.
So did they ever catch the guy?
Don't know. Not that I'm aware of. Have you heard anything to that? No. And I haven't heard of another incident besides that one that you're mentioning.
Mira Costa has its own agency. So anything that happens there goes through them, and we get, if it applies to us, they'll inform us at the same time.
I would like to point out, though, that there was a message out there within like 30 minutes of it happening. It had happened, and then it was all over Facebook, and Nixel, I think, and Nextdoor. So the announcement was made very quickly so that people could kind of get into action. I think that supports the overall theme of remaining in contact and just making sure to keep everybody in check.
And the college reacted really quickly to get the word out, and then get their police out there to work on it, and then notify us to help with the surrounding area too.
So what if you have like a neighbor that's constantly fixing their car and racing around the neighborhood? I live on Lehigh. I live on the corner of Lehigh and Stanford.
I think we know who it is.
Everybody in
The
here.
white car that's jacked up, replace the large stereo.
No,
It's the black
it's
car.
the black car. Yeah, he comes over to our neighborhood and like harasses us, and he actually has no reason to be on Kelton.
Yeah, he drives through
Yeah.
our neighborhood,
And
which
he
is
has
2
scared the
blocks
hell out of my
over.
son multiple times. Then he plays basketball outside. He's harassed us personally. He's a shady character, and
Very shady.
He just
no,
was
his
looking
own
for my
like
neighbor's
black escort, like
garage,
90s escort,
3 days ago.
beat up. He used to have a chicken hanging from the muffler.
I haven't had everything.
He looks like straight out of like chicken.
Yeah.
Oh no, I feel sorry for you.
So that's why I'm like,
That's a good example of what this program can assist.
Yeah.
You all seem to have a problem with the same thing.
absolutely.
I'm all over that.
If it's something that you want to call the police
Yeah.
about, if it's urgent, you want to call the police because something's happening right now, then call. You call 911 if it's an emergency, or the non-emergency line.
So yeah, so that's my point.
But as you're expressing it here, then just call me and give me that information, and I can
We
deal
have a
with that.
sheriff in the neighborhood too, who lives up on Carnegie, and he's been keeping his eye on him for a long time now.
It's just
And
that he's like a super sketch person.
oh, he's super sketch.
You know, like.
Super. I've never wanted to say anything to him because you don't know what he's like. I don't know how stable he is as a person. He's like.
Hey guys, the officers are on limited time, so I'd like to just bring it down a little bit and maybe let them finish up their presentation, but we'll be here afterwards so we can kind of take down some information and figure out, working out a solution.
We're going to give it to you right at the end.
Yeah, so that's a good example of something that you guys want to communicate with each other about, but then also keep Officer Stingley in the loop and let him know.
That's his number, right? That's your number right there?
I printed your number.
4401.
Is it on there?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And his email.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is basically, so would we call like the non-emergency number, or would we just call him directly?
If it's something that's happening right, okay, listen please, everybody can't hear, everybody's talking. If it's something that's happening and you need an officer to come out for right then you need to call the non-emergency number or 911 if it's an emergency, okay? If it's something that, hey, this has gone on for the last few days, I'm concerned about it, I want, somebody to know about it, you can call and let Officer Stingley know, and he can follow up on it.
Okay.
But if it's something you need somebody to come out for right then, don't call his number because you could get his voicemail and he could be out in the field, he could be off, he doesn't work 7 days a week. So we want to call the non-emergency number for that to have somebody come out right then.
And what's like the turnaround response, like?
It depends on what's going on.
They're actually really quick.
It depends on what's going on. All of our calls go on a priority basis.
Okay.
So depending on the priority level of the call, we will get a response based on that. Emergencies, we're coming right away, right? We have a really quick response time. If it's a non-emergency thing, let's say, you know, the neighbor's outside working on his vehicle and.
But like, where do you draw the line, is like kind of like where I'm at.
So I think I'd like to make a quick comment. I was over on, I think, Brown the other day, and there was a man walking around, clearly not belonging there. And we were out in the neighborhood, so I was kind of keeping my eye on the situation. Within about 10 or 15 minutes, there was an officer out there, a couple of officers out there actually. They talked to him on the corner. He wasn't dangerous or anything. He ended up leaving in a van for social services of some kind. So it was pretty quick. I mean, it all happened within a half an hour. And that was with somebody sort of just wandering around. So I wouldn't say that was a high-level emergency, and it still happened.
And it really depends on what's going on at the time. I mean, we can't say, if you call in about this, we're going to be there in 10 minutes. If you call in about this, it's going to be 15 minutes. It's 5. We can't do that. But what we can do is, if everything goes on the list on a priority basis, and the highest priority comes first, and then the lower priority gets pushed down until the officers can get to it. If nothing's going on around the neighborhood and that beat officer has nothing that they have to go to and the call pops up, they could be there in a minute, 2 minutes. But it really depends on what's going on. And if it's a really busy night, the dispatcher will tell you. And they're going to say, we're only responding to emergencies right now, we're having a critical incident, we'll get back to you, we'll give you an update, whatever the case may be, they will let you know. But they're going to come as soon as they can. Okay, but we don't have like time frames for, you know, non-emergency type stuff.
I mean, how long should you let it go on for before you call, though, basically?
You know, it really depends. If it's disturbing your peace, there's no time that you have to wait and be disturbed. You know, if it's something that somebody's playing loud music or there's a party next door, you know, you don't have to wait and say, okay, I'm gonna let it go on for an hour. You know, if it's disturbing your peace, anytime day or night.
I mean, technically, I don't think legally he's allowed to be working on his cars out front. You can call the city on that, and they'll come out and take it up.
I was gonna say, for a guy like that, I mean, you know who he is. Anyone that knows this guy, he's very, very suspicious. So we call on him. We call on him. If he drives by our house 3 times,
or in houses before, we call right away when he's doing that.
and then if he comes speeding around his corner and he does it, and if you see him and you live next door to him and you do it, then they get 3 or 4 phone calls. You know, they're gonna come. They're gonna come and check it out.
Okay.
But
They're very, the guys that come up in the neighborhood to check on him are very familiar with who he is.
yeah,
I mean,
everyone knows who he is.
yeah.
And he's I mean, to be a criminal-minded person in our neighborhood, you think like, well, you're gonna do crime where you live, you know.
Yeah.
But he's
He
so
sticks out like a
unstable
sore
and
thumb.
so you know that you know we're leery of him.
We live in a poverty.
Yeah. The kids in our house and stuff. We're
All right,
definitely.
we have a hand up right here.
I just have a question. So, what's the cutoff time if someone's having a loud party and going, like weekdays after 10 or weekends? When do you decide about it? It's going until midnight or 1 a.m.?
We don't have a time. If it's disturbing your peace, you can call.
Okay, so you can.
If it's 2 in the afternoon, if it's 2 in the morning, you can call. You don't have to put up with it for a certain amount of time and then call. You don't have to do that. If it's disturbing your peace, you can call it about it.
Rule of thumb is be reasonable and hopefully talk to your neighbor and just tell them that there's a problem. A lot of times people just don't communicate that to the neighbor, so it turns into hostility. It's like, why'd they call the cops on me instead of just coming to talk to me? But then at the same time, if the person doesn't feel like they can do that and speak to that person without getting hostility back, they may call. So you just, hopefully this program and everything involved would put out enough communication that people can speak to each other freely and say, hey, this thing bothered me, no problem, I'll turn it down.
You also brought up a couple of points about other means of communicating. There is a website called Nextdoor. Anybody on there? All right, good.
What is it called again?
Nextdoor.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, nextdoor.com. It basically was created as a tool for neighbors to communicate with each other about crime and safety in the neighborhoods. It's specific to your neighborhood, so I always encourage neighborhood watch people to get involved in that because that's a forum to talk about crime and safety in your community, and it's specific to your neighborhood, which is important because you need to get involved in that, especially if you want to do neighborhood watch. So that's already there, it's already established, neighbors are already on there, and they're already talking about all this stuff. I'd be willing willing to bet that that neighborhood group is already talking about that situation. So I encourage you to go and check that out. They also verify that you have a right to be in that neighborhood group. I can't even go on in law enforcement and look at what you guys are talking about because it's private and it's for your neighborhood group. But we are on there as well. If you want to share information with us, you can do that. So if you become part of your next door group and you post something about crime in the neighborhood, it will ask you, do you want to forward this to your Oceanside Police Department? You click on yes, and it will forward it to your neighborhood officer. So it's another extra tool to get that information to us, which is important. And then communicate with your neighbors, okay? There's all kinds of other stuff on there that you can talk about too, like, you know, garage sales and stuff like that. But you can also tailor it to what you want to see and who you want to see and who you want to see. So that's another great tool to use. Another one is Nixle. Anybody on Nixle? Yeah? Have you gotten an alert recently?
Would you spell it?
Nixle. Nixle. I brought some flyers too, right here. You can sign up with your cell phone or your email or both. And basically it's like an emergency response type of alert system that we use. And if there is something critical that's happening, we will put out an alert. Probably most recently was a missing person who was missing and we needed help from the community to find this person. We'll put out an alert and say, you know, sometimes we put a picture, sometimes we put a description or what it is, and we ask for assistance. And then we will also post an update if, you know, like find the person and stuff like that. But it also puts out alerts for emergencies. You know, we're gonna have some wild weather coming up here in the next few days. If there's, you know, flooding and road closures or, you know, traffic alerts and stuff like that, we need to put out, that is a good tool to get that information. So I encourage you to sign up for that because that's how we put emergency information out to the public. All right, and I did bring some flyers on that as well. Any other questions? All right, everybody gonna get involved?
Well, I guess the biggest question is how do we get a roster of everybody in the neighborhood, and then we've got names and phone numbers and.
Yes, I have a map all divided up, so I need block captains for maybe 30 different block captains, and these would be people that would be within the smaller, you know, 20 houses or so groups. Those are the people that you would kind of network with about immediate problems, like somebody on the street corner. And then the idea of us being here is to communicate to us, all of those block captains to communicate to us what's going on. One of the problems is that I think that people aren't getting out to the neighborhood watch block captain meeting monthly, and so we would like to be able to go to the block captain meeting for you guys and start kind of strategizing, figuring out solutions, bringing information back, and then letting you know what the game plan is to solve things that are, you know, ongoing issues that aren't crime necessarily, but that are disturbing the neighborhood. So if you'd like to be a block captain, let me know, or, you know, email us, and we'll try to make that as little work for you as possible, but really to just kind of band the neighbors together. And I have this map for you guys. We'll put together some sort of, we talked about a phone tree or something, a little bit old school, where maybe nobody has more than 1 or 2 people to call, but that way you can get in contact with your neighbors real quick and have a roster of who's participating.
We do have the Facebook group and the Facebook page that we're actually maintaining for the purposes of Neighborhood Watch, and just kind of like the same as next door, just for you folks to use to talk to each other about garage sales, crimes, whatever suits your fancy that day. Don't plan crime on there, because otherwise we might have some liability.
And we'll have to report it.
And as the social media manager, I'll say that I know a lot of you guys will get invites for groups and not really know what they are and maybe just dismiss them. So maybe if you've got a lot of built up invites to like certain pages, you might want to go in there. You'll see that the Mira Costa Estates private group is one of them. And if you could join from there. Otherwise, we can send you an email from the information that we took and sign in as well.
Yeah, exactly. By no means, we don't want you guys to feel like Facebook is the only way that you can communicate. We are also collecting phone numbers and emails, so we can put together a roster for a phone tree and an email list that we'll share with everybody. But if there are other ways that you want us to communicate with you, or if you want to communicate with each other, we're open. Let us know. We're happy to set that up and maintain it for you.
I have a specific question for you all. I don't want to keep I don't want to.
We'll be here afterwards if you'd like to stop and speak with us.
Just out of curiosity, I know this is a realtor group that's sponsoring it. Are you all also in the neighborhood, or are you just
So we live in the complex right below your neighborhood. So all of those people on the hill and things, they're coming down into our complex. So we're right here, we work right in the neighborhood. That's why we started to kind of be around in your neighborhood and speak with you guys. And this is the kind of feedback that we got. So in our efforts to, just be resourceful and help you guys out, that we decided
So
to.
the inebriated teenagers that disappeared off your hill come down the other side into our complex.
So, just for clarity, so you're in our neighborhood or you're outside of the neighborhood?
We're not in Mira Costa Estates, we're in the Seed Bluffs, condo complex.
Okay.
Right next down there.
Like right at the
So,
border, basically.
and you'll see when you see this map, we're working on joining this entire side of Rancho del Oro as a part of Neighborhood Watch, and then kind of going into the different neighborhoods and figuring out what's going on, because our little strip here is definitely, we've got nice houses, it's attractive. So we're trying to join the whole neighborhood together to get this Neighborhood Watch going.
Yeah. She mentioned the monthly Neighborhood Watch Block Captains meeting. That's on the fourth Tuesday of every month at 6:30 p.m. It's right next to the police station. Everybody know where the police station is? Mission and El Camino Real. There's a library right next to our department, and in between the library and the police department, there's a door. There's a community room right there. 6:30, fourth Tuesday of the month. I do have a flyer here that has information about Neighborhood Watch and kind of step-by-step, and it mentions in there that there's a block captains meeting on that day, Tuesday. It's actually the 23rd this month, 6:30 p.m. That program, I have people there that have been doing Neighborhood Watch for longer than I've been working in the department, and they come to that meeting, and it is a great resource to, kind of hear what other people are doing in their neighborhoods and what they're dealing with, and how they're resolving issues and stuff like that. So it's another tool to use, and then our neighborhood officers go to that meeting as well.
Good.
Okay, thank you. All right.
What have you got here?
I'll leave them. I'll leave all this paperwork here. Another resource, whose job is it anyway? We've got a lot of questions tonight about streets and, graffiti, different things like that. This is another resource to look up and see, who do I call for what? It's not always the police department. Sometimes it is, but not always so. And then the Nixle one as well. So we'll leave these here for you all.
There's a big list of phone numbers. My phone number's on the back of this, along with there's 4 NPT officers, neighborhood policing officers. We're all on the back here. If you reach out to any of us, we'll all pass the word on to who it actually goes to, whose zone it is, or help each other.
So one more question. Do you know of all the stuff that's gone on in the neighborhood? Like, how recent have you been in this neighborhood?
I've been working in Oceanside for 5 years. I've been a cop for 9 years. And this neighborhood in particular, I get all the updates now.
Okay.
My area prior to February 1st, I think we switched over. Prior to that was just over in Fire Mountain. So I wasn't far, but that was my cutoff was right there, and then all of downtown. So, but I have all the updates now. I know what goes on Cameo. So I'm familiar with it now, and I've actually been over here quite a bit. I don't know if any of you have seen me driving around, but today I was over here. I went up to the apartments in Cameo. I'll be around. If you see me, feel free to stop and talk to me. There's sometimes little questions people have, or what's going on in the neighborhood, information they want. I can't always explain exactly what's going on, but the thing is, especially with this program, here's how it's just communication. It seems daunting. Like there's a whole lot of responsibility that's attached to this. It's not. It's communication, and it's as simple as a little bit of information came in, and if you want to pass it on, that's great. But there's nothing worse than when we have a problem, and it's a group of people who have committed a crime overnight, and nobody has seen anything, or maybe someone did, but never got passed on. There's no communication. So then we never find out about it, and we don't have a suspect information to build off of. So any little bit of information helps. So when we pass that on to you guys and say, hey, there's been some burglaries in this area, has anybody seen anything? And then people start, well, I saw this one guy who was walking out, he looked like this, and it happens to link to some other things. That's what this neighborhood policing team is really valuable at. So we can't be everywhere, but you guys are, and that's the best part.
And I've had a couple of people tell me that they have had something happen. It's usually a car broken into, and they've called to place, to let the police know, like to take a report. And there's been a couple, maybe 3 instances where the neighbors have told me that they wouldn't take a report because there was no forcible entry. So then I would give them like Jose's number, and then Jose would take that.
Right. They won't say, no, we won't take a report. They'll say,
This is
They'll
what they
refer
told,
to
this is
online
actually what
reporting.
they told them. They told, no, there's no
Okay.
forcible entry.
Maybe a
We
miscommunication.
we're not gonna take a report. And
It's
so
still-
I said, talk to Jose, because if that weed whacker ends up, and over here, where he's looking for some information, any information is always good.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm familiar with that specific incident.
Well, there was one.
There was one specific incident, and I know that that person did contact Officer Munoz, and then actually I was the one that followed up. I took a report from that victim, and then their stuff was being sold online. So they had an unlocked vehicle. Somebody got in their vehicle and stole some items, and then they were turning around and selling them in the area.
Really?
So we were able to track down who the seller was. Actually, the victim set up a deal, and they went and bought their stuff back.
Yeah, see, neighborhood watch works.
So it works, and that's how it happened, it was that transaction between, they reached out to you and, said, well, we didn't get a report taken, which is not the way that should have happened, and I felt horrible about that. So I called this victim back, I followed up, I did a report, we actually ended up going out, we got detectives out there, we went to this place, they were doing it in the neighborhood, they were stealing a lot of stuff from like the general Tri-City area, and they were selling it online. So we ended up recovering some stolen property, getting it back to victims as much as we could. Some of the stuff you can't identify who it belongs to. We had a baseball bat, we had a glove, we had some random stuff that it's hard to get back to a victim. So it is important that you're reporting stuff. A lot of the stuff we found, we had no reports of people reporting the item is missing. So make sure you report it, because we do get some of the stuff back, and we can't get it back to you if you're not reporting the loss. So I definitely encourage you to report stuff. If you are getting a response that doesn't seem accurate, ask to speak to a watch commander or supervisor. Reach out to your neighborhood officer. Take another step, because that's not accurate. If your vehicle is unlocked and somebody gets in and takes something, it is a crime. We do not know that.
Because you also go down to the police station too.
Yeah, youth employment person, actually, and I was the neighborhood watch coordinator for 9 years, and I just got promoted to a new position, and I am at the front desk now, so if you would like to come, I'll report there. Feel free to come and see me there. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and those officers that are there to help take that kind of stuff, so we can keep the patrol officers out there for, the high priority crimes, the emergencies. They can take reports like that, somebody getting in your vehicle and taking something, kind of reports. There's a lot of options to report stuff. There's online reporting, there's over the phone, there's having an officer come out, so please take that step and do the reporting. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Thank you to the Oceanside Police Department for your support. If anybody came in after we started, if you could just hang out and talk to us for a minute so we can get your information. Or if anybody wants to be a block captain, hang out, have a snack, please. And thanks so much.